Hello there. Have you ever felt swept away by the relentless current of modern life to the point where your most private, intimate moments gradually become exposed? Today, we tend to share everything from small joys to deep sorrows, from shining successes to dreams still taking shape. But do all these things really need to be spoken aloud? Or is it in the silence and holding some things just for ourselves that we find true peace? Buddhism teaches us that not every feeling, thought, or plan should be laid bare to the world. Some things, when kept quietly, aren't hidden away out of fear, but protected, nurturing our inner strength and preserving our calm. From material possessions to inner wounds from past regrets to quiet acts of kindness, each carries profound value when held close. Today, let's explore 9 important things worth keeping private, not to separate ourselves, but to rediscover peace and wisdom within the heart. First, let's talk about the kindness you've shown. Have you ever wondered why silent acts of kindness hold such powerful meaning? In a noisy world hungry for recognition, we often feel compelled to broadcast what we've done, who we've helped, and how we've contributed. Yet, it is precisely in the silence without applause or spotlight that true compassion shines brightest. Kindness doesn't need proof or fanfare. When you help someone without expecting thanks or praise, your heart feels light, like a gentle breeze through the trees. You're freed from the weight of judgment and the desire for reward. This is freedom, the freedom from the ego that craves attention, that needs validation. You give love not for anything in return, but because compassion has become as natural as your breath. The Buddha taught that dana, or generosity, is one of the most vital qualities on the path to liberation. But true generosity isn't giving to be praised. It's giving in the serenity of the heart. Whether it's handing a loaf of bread to someone in need, offering a gentle hand to comfort someone hurting, or simply sharing a genuine smile with a stranger, these are the seeds of quiet compassion. These acts don't demand a stage or camera flashes. They quietly sow peace and harmony. Have you noticed that the greatest acts of kindness in life often go unnoticed? A mother waking early to prepare breakfast. A friend who listens quietly when you need to speak. A stranger who helps pick up a dropped wallet. All these small moments pass without fanfare, without audience, yet carry infinite healing power. That's the true beauty of kindness, not a performance, but a genuine expression. So when you do good without sharing it with the world, it's not because you're hiding or afraid of being forgotten. On the contrary, you're preserving the purity of the act, not letting the ego's need for recognition dilute your sincerity. Because when kindness becomes a performance, it can quickly turn into a burden. You might feel pressured to do more, to do bigger, to keep up an image. But in that display, the soul of compassion can get lost. In the Dhammapada, the Buddha said, "Even a small act of goodness lights up the world of the doer." The world doesn't need you to boast about your kindness. What the world truly needs is for you to keep planting seeds of goodness day after day through the most natural actions springing from deep compassion. You become that quiet light, unshakable amid darkness. Imagine yourself as a wildflower by the roadside, unassuming and modest, yet silently opening its petals each day, soaking up the sunlight, and releasing a gentle fragrance. No one commands it. No one counts its petals. But its scent and presence soften the path you walk, bringing peace to those passing by. Your kindness is like that flower. It doesn't need to be flashy to be valuable. Its worth lies in its simplicity and authenticity. Have you ever felt tired of explaining or justifying what you do? When kindness gets tied to expectations or recognition, you lose not only your ease, but the pure essence of the act itself. The Buddha once said, "Keeping a compassionate heart is keeping your freedom." When you give compassion freely, unbound by outcomes or others' opinions, you live fully in the present, in unshackled freedom. Look around you. Some people rarely speak of the good they do, yet the light in their eyes cannot be hidden. Their quiet humility radiates strength, allowing anyone to sense their sincerity. Others boast and take pride in their deeds, but seem restless inside. That's because when kindness becomes a show, even if it pleases the crowd, it can exhaust the giver and steal their peace. This is a precious lesson Buddhism teaches us. Compassion needs no applause. Kindness needs no audience. When you give love silently, you nurture a sacred seed within your soul. You build an inner world of stillness, steadfast and unshaken by outer storms. Let every time you help someone be a gift of peace to yourself. Let every kind gesture be a moment when you deeply connect with humanity and life itself. And when your heart overflows with compassion, even if no one knows, you still contribute to making this world gentler and more beautiful. That is the true power of kindness, a power that's quiet and unassuming, yet able to penetrate all barriers and soothe countless wounds. And in that silence, you will find pure joy, true freedom, not because you're praised, but because you've lived authentically from your heart. Now that you understand the profound value of quiet kindness, join me as we continue to explore other parts of life you might also keep private. Because in preserving these parts, you not only protect yourself, but open up a space of peace and freedom in your soul. 2. Inner wounds. Have you ever felt, in your most vulnerable moments, the deep desire to find someone who truly understands and can hold the fragile pieces of your broken heart? When our souls are wounded, they're not like a simple glass that can be easily mended with empty promises or hurried words of comfort. They're more like a delicate dawn, needing patience and gentle care from those strong enough not to shatter those tiny fragments even more. Not everyone deserves to step into the sacred space of your inner world where your deepest hurts are carefully kept. The Buddha taught that the mind is the source of all things, and from it arise all suffering or peace. When you entrust the broken pieces of your heart to someone not ready to hold them, you may receive greater wounds, careless judgments, or thoughtless indifference in return. Imagine you have a precious potted plant needing water and light to heal. You can't rush to pour water or pour the wrong things, or it will die faster. Similarly, your pain needs to be received by hearts patient enough, calm enough, and genuinely compassionate. Only then can true healing begin. So how do you know who is worthy to enter that inner world? Buddhism points to discernment as a part of wisdom and compassion toward yourself. Before opening up, take time to listen to the silence within the wordless but powerful space inside. Ask yourself, does this person truly show up when I need them? Do they have the patience not to judge, hastily? Do they hold enough compassion not to cause more hurt? If the answer is unclear, let silence protect that precious part of you until you find real safety. We often think sharing our pain is the only way to heal, but the Buddha teaches that listening to oneself in silence is also a path to liberation. In that quietness, you can meet your true self, feel each broken piece without being overwhelmed or dragged by chaotic emotions outside. This is how you nurture your soul to prepare for transformation, to be ready to entrust those who can hold you without breaking your heart further. In Buddhist scriptures, spiritual teachers always say that healing isn't rushing to discard wounds, but accepting them with compassion and respect. There's a story about a young woman carrying deep pain. She tried telling everyone, hoping for empathy and help, but the more she spoke, the lonelier she felt, because not everyone can walk alongside her in that darkness. One day, she began to meditate, listen to herself in silence without words or reactions. In that stillness, she realized she herself was the gentlest keeper of those broken pieces, no judgment, no harm. And only by accepting herself first could she open to healing from outside in a peaceful and profound way. Inner wounds are not weaknesses or fears to run from. They are the truest parts of being human, evidence of life's experiences and growth. But remember, these parts should only be shared with those calm and compassionate enough to hold them, not with the curious or the shallow who cannot understand. You might wonder, why shouldn't I share everything? Is it fear of rejection or loneliness? No, it's about honoring yourself, a way to love yourself through protection and respect. When you guard the most intimate parts of your soul, you create a safe space for growth and healing. Perhaps you've experienced opening up in the wrong place to the wrong person, only to see your pain multiplied. That's a painful but necessary lesson to value discernment and silence. The Buddha said, "Sometimes silence is the strongest voice of wisdom." In those wordless moments, you lose nothing, but instead hold your own world, a world where you can rest and regenerate. When you find those who can walk with you through difficult times, entrust parts of yourself gently and with trust. That is genuine companionship, without haste or judgment. Then your heart won't crack, but will slowly heal with love and deep understanding. Remember, you listening now deserve to be cherished and protected like this. On life's journey, nothing is more precious than inner peace, and nothing more necessary than knowing how to guard your heart's fragments until the right time to open comes. So, whenever you feel hurt, instead of rushing to share that story with anyone, try listening to the silence within you. Give yourself time to feel, to heal, to love yourself first. And when you're truly ready, you'll find genuine souls wide enough to share support and love, not to hurt, but to help you move forward with a mended heart. In that stillness, you'll discover that sometimes keeping silent is the best way to protect the love within yourself. And that is the deepest strength you can give yourself, not from words, but from the unshakable peace in your soul. When you understand this, you'll live more fully, love more deeply, and open your heart completely, but never carelessly. Because every heart has worth, and it deserves to be kept with respect, patience, and compassion. Keep that light steady within you, and together we'll continue on a journey to explore other precious things you should keep private like sacred treasures that help you live peacefully in this chaotic world. 3. Deep intentions and secret dreams. Have you ever noticed that the most wonderful things in life often begin in silence? Deep hidden dreams and quiet intentions are like tiny seeds planted beneath the soil, unseen and unknown by anyone, yet silently preparing to sprout. In today's fast-paced world, we're often pushed to share every plan, every step with everyone, as if success can only come when it's loudly announced. But the reality is very different. Buddhism teaches that new and fragile things need to be nurtured in quiet, not out of fear or secrecy, but because careful tending can only happen without too many watchful eyes or rushed judgments. A seed only needs moist soil, gentle sunlight, and time. The less disturbance, the stronger it grows. Imagine if every day you dug up a seed you just planted to show it off to others, it wouldn't have the strength to grow. Similarly, when your dreams and plans are constantly dug up under the spotlight of public attention, they become shaken, doubted, and may even lose their original purity. Often, it's the opinions and expectations of others that shake your confidence, cloud your direction, and cause you to doubt yourself. The Buddha said the wise do not let praise touch their hearts, nor do they let blame disturb their minds. These words aren't just advice on how to deal with others. They're a profound reminder of how to treat your own dreams. Let your dreams be free in silence, growing at their own pace, without pressure or disruption from outside judgment. There's a story about a young artist who spent years quietly creating in a small room, sharing his work with no one. He didn't seek recognition or praise at first, only a deep love for his craft. Then one day, when his final painting was completed, it wasn't just a product of creativity, but a testament to perseverance and patience. It wasn't loud applause that made him great. It was the dedication and protection of his dream in silence that brought him there. You might wonder, am I keeping my dreams too secret so they never see the light? That's a natural worry. But remember, sharing should come only when the seed is strong enough to face new winds without breaking. Keeping your dreams quiet isn't isolation, it's protection, a way to honor their growth. Buddhism also teaches about patience, the ability to endure and persist quietly. Patience isn't blind suffering, but a deep understanding that everything has its time. Seeds need time to sprout, then to grow and bear fruit. This is a natural law, and so are you. You need time for your dreams to grow, plans to mature, and for them to come to life. When you learn to keep quiet about your plans, you also train deeper focus. Without distractions from external noise, you can dedicate your energy to nurturing your intentions, acting mindfully, step by step. You realize not everyone needs to know everything, and sometimes silence is the answer to every question. Think of a peaceful river flowing through a valley. You see the calm, clear surface, but beneath it, a powerful current quietly guides all life. Behind silence lies hidden strength preparing to burst forth at the right moment. Just like that, your dreams need to be nurtured in that quiet space before they shine with full power. You may have heard the Buddha say, "It is not the noise outside that creates value, but the purity within." Success doesn't need to shout. Masters often work quietly, persist day after day, letting their results speak for themselves. So when you start a new project, a long-held plan, keep it in a private space. Let it be loved and nurtured in silence. This is not hiding but nourishing. When the seed is strong, you can confidently share it with the world, and then every word and action will carry the weight of truth and maturity. Along the way, you're not alone. Buddhism accompanies you with teachings on mindfulness, patience, and compassion. You can meditate to connect deeply with yourself, recognizing the small steps you take each day. You can learn to love yourself through waiting without rushing or forcing. The world outside might be noisy, chaotic, and pressuring, but inside, you can hold a peaceful place where your dreams grow at their own pace. Let silence be the vast sky under which your plans soar, and let time be your patient companion on that journey. Because, in the end, true success is not the loud echo of a declaration, but the quiet whisper of your heart, living fully in what you've chosen. And that is the deepest message Buddhism offers us. Silence is not merely the absence of sound, but the full presence of wisdom and patience. Trust your own journey. Plant the seeds of your dreams quietly and lovingly, so one day they will grow strong, vibrant, and shine brilliantly, not loudly, yet enough to make the world look up in awe. 4. Private relationships in their fragile beginnings. Have you ever wondered why new relationships, full of hope and joy, can be so delicately vulnerable when love is still young? Like a tender green shoot, just sprouting from the earth, it needs gentle care, quiet nurturing, and protection from the cold winds of doubt, judgment, and rushed opinions. You might feel eager to share your deepest feelings and hopes in a new relationship. You want to express your love, your worries, your excitement, even your fears, all the tangled emotions inside you. But Buddhism teaches us that not everything needs to be revealed right away. Silence can be the best protector of a relationship that isn't yet mature enough to withstand the outside challenges. Imagine caring for a newly blossomed flower. You wouldn't rush to expose it under the harsh sun or let it be battered by storms. Instead, you gently cover it with cool green leaves, allowing it to grow in peace and warmth. Love needs that same patience, a safe space to grow. Sharing too soon or too much can lead to misunderstandings, judgments, or even unnecessary hurt for you or your partner. Perhaps you've heard stories of couples newly in love, excitedly telling friends and family every detail of their relationship, from beautiful moments to minor disagreements. But not everyone truly understands or handles these stories with the care needed to protect something so fragile. Unintentional comments, curious questions, or intrusive scrutiny can sow seeds of doubt, causing pure love to fade. The Buddha said, "Keeping the mind pure and peaceful is the foundation of all happiness." In love, this silence isn't just quiet. It's a shield, a way of preserving the value and purity of the connection. When you honor privacy, you show respect both for yourself and for your partner. You might wonder, does this silence risk making the relationship feel distant or cold? The answer is no. If silence is nurtured by sincerity and true love, it's a time for both of you to understand yourselves better, to build stronger trust without the noise of outside influence. Buddhism emphasizes Mindfulness in relationships, being fully present and aware when with another. Mindfulness isn't just sitting in meditation or focusing on your breath. It's listening, feeling, and honoring every moment in the relationship, even the quietest ones. When you practice mindfulness, you avoid being swept away by assumptions or impulsive feelings, maintaining calm and clarity. Remember, in the Dhammapada, the Buddha said, "Silence is the strength of the wise." In relationships, silence isn't avoidance. It's a wise choice to protect love. Not everything needs to be said. Not every story needs to be told to the world. Love nurtured in silence grows stronger and lasts longer than any showy display. There's a Buddhist story about two companions on the spiritual path. They once argued and misunderstood each other, but instead of rushing to speak, they sat together in silence, listening and understanding that sometimes words aren't necessary to feel one another's hearts. Over time, their friendship deepened and endured because they learned to respect private space for each other and themselves. You can apply this lesson to new romantic relationships. Allow yourself and your partner time to grow and build trust in quiet. Don't rush to spill all your thoughts and feelings before you truly understand yourself and before they are ready to receive you. By doing so, you protect not just your love, but yourself from needless hurt. In today's world, where everything is quickly shared on social media and emotions are put on display, keeping new relationships private can be a bold and valuable act. You don't owe anyone an explanation or proof of your feelings. You have the right to keep beautiful moments and gentle secrets just between you two. Did you know that learning to keep silence and privacy in love is also learning how to mature in love? You practice patience, respect, and gratitude for those delicate feelings. And that becomes the firm foundation that allows a relationship to last and thrive. That silence also helps you avoid the wounds caused by careless words or judgments. You don't need to reveal everything to anyone just to be comforted or understood. Sometimes silence and patience are the best healers for young relationships. When you truly honor that silence, you'll see love bloom naturally, without force, without outside pressures. It will grow inside you like a lotus flower, pure, peaceful, never stained by the muddy waters of the world. Finally, remember the Buddha's advice: guard your heart as you would a treasure. New relationships, new feelings are just like that. Keep them safe in quietness and ease until they are strong enough to step into the light with their full natural beauty. And once you've learned to cherish and protect these relationships, you'll be ready to open your heart fully and peacefully like never before. But first, let silence be your closest companion on the path of love, so you can love fully without haste or harm, because sometimes it's in those silent moments that the greatest and deepest love is born. 5. Old regrets and past mistakes. Have you ever caught yourself repeating old stories, reliving past mistakes that once caused you pain, as if they are inseparable parts of who you are? Regrets and past errors can haunt you so deeply that they overshadow the brightness of the present moment. And then you wonder, can you truly let them go? Or will they follow you throughout your life, like shadows that never leave? Buddhism teaches that regret itself is not the enemy. Rather, it is attachment to regret that traps your soul in suffering. The Buddha reminded us, do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. This is not just simple advice. It is a profound guide for how you can free yourself from the chains of the past. Imagine walking under the sunlight, but with a long shadow trailing behind you along every step. That shadow is regret, always lingering, stretching out, and blocking your path forward. If you keep staring at that shadow, you won't see the radiant light of the road ahead, nor will you walk lightly and freely. Many people feel the need to retell the story of their mistakes as a way to explain, apologize, or even seek empathy. But sometimes this only deepens the wounds, making healing impossible. There is a delicate line between conscious acknowledgement of the past and drowning in it. When you hold on to old stories too tightly, you unknowingly feed those wounds, letting them control your feelings and actions today. Buddhism reminds us that forgiveness begins with ourselves. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting what happened. It means accepting the truth with compassion, without judgment or resentment. Forgiveness is about releasing burdens and allowing yourself to live more lightly. There's a story of an elderly monk who carried deep regret for his past, but he learned to sit quietly in meditation and face himself daily. Little by little, he let silence support his wounds, turning them into lessons and finally peace. You might ask, how can I avoid getting caught in the whirlpool of regret? The answer lies in mindfulness, living fully in the present moment. When you focus on your breath, on the sensations in your body, on the simple things around you, you begin to realize that the past is only part of your journey, not the whole story. The past does not define you, and you have the power to choose how to move forward. Think of a river flowing over rocks of all sizes. The water doesn't hold on to the stones. It gently flows past, neither clinging nor resisting. Be like that waterlet. Regrets pass through your mind without holding on to them as burdens. Silence and stillness are the cool streams that soothe your pain, heal your wounds, and open new, bright paths ahead. You may have heard a story from Buddhist scriptures about the transformation of the soul. A person who had committed serious mistakes once sought the Buddha's advice. The Buddha didn't judge or condemn, but gently taught the past is gone. Let it rest. The future is new ground for planting. Live in the present with compassion and wisdom. This story isn't just a reminder for that person, it's a lesson for all of us. You can start by allowing yourself to let go. Letting go isn't forgetting. It's granting yourself the right to live peacefully, unburdened by past mistakes. When you stop retelling old stories, you gain the strength to write a new chapter, a chapter full of joy and hope. There is a simple but profound truth. Regret is just the past. You are the present and the future. Don't let the past dim the light of your living days. Let silence be the place where you heal the warm blanket that comforts your soul when you are weary. In that quietness, you can find yourself again, find peace, and find the strength to keep moving. And when you're ready, let the lessons from your past inspire you rather than weigh you down. Let compassion guide you for yourself and for the mistakes you've made, because it is from forgiveness and acceptance that you will find the path to true liberation. Finally, remember that every new day is an opportunity to be born again, to renew your soul, and to live fully in the present. Don't carry the ghosts of the past into the new day. Let silence support you so you can step forward with gentleness and peace. Now that you understand the power of forgiveness and silence, let's continue together to explore what comes next, the other secrets that help you protect and nurture your soul more fully. 6. Personal conflicts with others. There are times in life when you face conflicts and disagreements with family, friends, or colleagues. These moments often stir our souls, filling us with anger, hurt, and the urge to explain or defend ourselves. But did you know that when these conflicts aren't fully clear or resolved, sharing them with too many people can sometimes be a double-edged sword? Once words are spoken, they can't be taken back, and they may cause more harm than you realize. Buddhism teaches that speech is one of the greatest karmic forces humans create. Every word carries weight. It can build or break, create good connections, or sow harmful seeds. When anger takes hold, words often spill out from chaotic, uncontrolled emotions, and that is when the mind easily sows karma seeds of suffering for the future. In the scriptures, the Buddha said, "Speak only when your words are more beautiful than silence." This is not just a reminder to communicate wisely, but an invitation to embrace stillness and patience, allowing the mind to grow clearer. Imagine a conflict retold again and again to many people each time, adding a little more emotion, a little more speculation, how complicated and difficult it becomes to resolve. Those words can damage not only your relationship with the other person, but also create fractures in many other connections. Those who hear your story may not grasp the full truth, or they may bring their own judgments, unintentionally planting seeds of doubt and misunderstanding. In Buddhism, silence isn't a sign of weakness or avoidance. It's a mark of wisdom and patience. When you hold your tongue, you give yourself time to reassess the situation, to avoid being swept away by heated emotions, and most importantly, to protect trust. Trust in yourself, in the other person, and in the relationship. Trust is built through respect and waiting, not through rushed words or angry judgments. Buddhism also emphasizes karma. Our actions, words, and thoughts leave marks on our consciousness. When angry, we easily utter words that hurt, spreading hatred and suffering, not only to others, but also to ourselves. That's why practicing silence at the peak of anger is one of the most important lessons on the spiritual path. Silence doesn't mean suppressing feelings. It's learning to keep the mind peaceful. So when you do speak, it's with compassion and understanding. There's a story in Buddhist teachings about a young disciple who often got carried away by anger, speaking harsh words that hurt others. The Buddha taught him to practice restraint by taking deep breaths and remaining silent when emotions surged. Over time, the disciple learned how not to let angry words destroy precious relationships. and at the same time reduce negative karma for himself. You can apply this lesson in daily life. When you feel angry or hurt, instead of rushing to speak, try to pause. Take a deep breath. Look inward at your emotions and ask yourself, will what I'm about to say help this situation? Is it kinder than silence? This question can soothe your mind and help you see things more objectively. Silence during conflict is also how you create space for healing. When wounds are still raw, when misunderstandings linger, words spoken too soon can make things worse. But silence allows calm, softens hearts, and sometimes creates the conditions for empathy and forgiveness to naturally arise. Have you heard the saying, silence is the strongest answer? Indeed, sometimes saying nothing at all, simply being peacefully present, is enough for the other person to feel love and compassion. Silence is how you protect trust, preventing anger from destroying the bonds you've built. You might feel lonely in that silence, but remember, it's a journey of wisdom and compassion. The Buddha said, "Those who know silence understand the value of speech." When you learn to use silence wisely, you not only preserve relationships, but also keep peace within your own heart. In today's noisy, argumentative world, learning to hold silence during conflicts is a precious art. It helps you avoid careless words and unnecessary fights while building a calmer life where trust and love are nurtured, not harmed. So the next time you feel angry or hurt in a relationship, try to stop, take a step back, and choose silence. It's not a loss. It's a way to protect yourself and the precious things just beginning to bloom in your heart. Let silence be the shelter for your relationship so that when words do come, they come from understanding, compassion, and wisdom. Because only when your mind is at peace can you maintain trust, and trust is the strongest foundation of any relationship. And once you've learned this, you'll see that silence is not empty. It's a vibrant space that nurtures harmony and lasting love. Things that words alone can sometimes never express. 7. Your own spiritual rituals. Have you ever felt that on your spiritual journey, there are rituals and practices you dedicate yourself to deeply, yet don't want or simply can't share with anyone? There are quiet moments when you sit in meditation, reflect inwardly, or perform private spiritual disciplines that feel like the most sacred space, the most intimate part of yourself. And you worry that if you share too much, or if others misunderstand, the purity and power of your journey might fade. On the path of practice, each person holds their own unique rituals and practices nurtured over time through personal experience. They're not part of any performance for others, nor meant to prove anything. These are precious treasures, a sacred connection between you and your own spirit. There's a story in Buddhist tradition about a young monk gifted an ancient bell. He carefully kept the bell, like a treasure, never showing it off or boasting. Each time he used it, he listened not for others, but to feel the stillness and subtle movements of his own soul. That bell became a symbol of awakening and purity in his life. Likewise, your spiritual rituals, whether meditation, chanting, or simply mindful breathing, are your own personal bells. They help you connect to your inner truth and deep well of peace without needing anyone else's understanding or approval. Sometimes your own recognition and respect are enough. In today's world, where everything is often exposed on social media, and people tend to share every moment. Keeping your sacred rituals private can be a real challenge. You might feel lonely or different, but remember that silence and safeguarding those sacred moments is how you protect and nurture your spirituality. The Buddha taught practice is a sacred path, not a performance. This means true spiritual growth requires no showmanship or worldly recognition. Genuine practice arises from sincerity, commitment to oneself, and deep respect for the inner development process. You might wonder, does keeping your spiritual path private isolate you? Actually, it doesn't. When you maintain silence and privacy around your rituals, you create a safe space where your soul can grow naturally without judgment or misunderstanding. That space is also a place you can return to whenever needed for healing and renewal. Imagine your spirituality as a secret garden where rare flowers bloom quietly undisturbed by the noisy world outside. You may invite others in, but only when they truly understand and honor its sacredness. If not, you have every right to keep that garden just for yourself, protected and flourishing. Sometimes sharing too much about your spiritual journey complicates or distorts your practices. People may misunderstand or project their own views onto your experience, causing you to lose freedom and the original purity of your path. Buddhism encourages respect for individuality and privacy in each person's journey. Everyone approaches their path differently, with rituals and traditions suited to their own circumstances and mindset. The key is to be honest with yourself, preserving reverence and gratitude for your own process. In those silent, still moments, you are building a sturdy bridge between the outer world and the deep inner realm. That bridge doesn't need to be grand or flashy, just strong enough for you to walk steadily on it, no matter the storms outside. And you know, the sacredness of spiritual rituals isn't about form or others' opinions. It's about your sincerity, your ongoing commitment to awakening and inner peace. That is the inner light, the flame in your heart that never goes out. When you guard those rituals like treasures, you're preserving the most important part of yourself. You honor the growth, wisdom, and compassion you've cultivated day by day. And the miracle is within that silence and privacy, you discover your deepest connection to your sacred being. Let your spiritual journey be one of meaningful silence, not for proving or showing off, but for living fully in truth and freedom. Then, every ritual, every practice becomes a refreshing spring, nurturing your soul, a guiding light in life's darkness. And when you're steady enough in that silence, you can confidently open your heart gently and sincerely with those who truly appreciate and walk alongside you. But until then, cherish every sacred moment you keep for yourself, for that is the foundation of all growth and peace. Because within that silence, your spirituality is not only protected, it is nourished and elevated. A beauty without words, a strength unseen, yet deeply felt and everlasting. 8. Possessions and true wealth. Have you ever stopped to wonder what wealth really means? In a world where success is often measured by numbers and material things are flaunted loudly, is true wealth really about what we own on the outside? Or is there a deeper kind of richness, a wealth found in not being attached to those things? The Buddha taught that true wealth isn't about possessions or material goods, but about resting peacefully within ourselves, free from craving and clinging. Imagine someone standing amid a treasure trove of gold and jewels, yet feeling anxious, restless, and lacking inside. They may appear wealthy on the outside, but inside, they are poor. On the other hand, there are those who own very little but are serene, calm, and overflowing with inner joy. These are the truly rich because they aren't controlled by external values, but have found the treasure within themselves. Material wealth is easy to see, count, and compare, but inner wealth can't be measured by any number. It's the freedom from attachment, the lightness of not needing to prove or show off anything. There's a story of a wealthy monk who kept nothing for himself, giving everything away to help others. Yet, he was the richest man respected by all, not for his possessions, but for the peace and generosity in his heart. Have you ever felt pressured to prove your wealth to others through cars, houses, clothes, or lavish vacations? But Buddhism reminds us that wealth doesn't need to be flaunted or confirmed externally. When you're no longer dependent on outside things to define your worth, you've found true wealth, a wealth that can't be stolen or lost. Picture yourself as a boat on the ocean. Material possessions are like waves on the surface, sometimes lifting you up, sometimes pulling you down with the weather. But the peace inside your heart is like the sturdy hull keeping you afloat, no matter how fierce the storm. That's the power of inner wealth, a stability untouched by outside changes. The Buddha said, "Only those who know how to let go are truly rich." Letting go doesn't mean giving up everything, but not letting greed and attachment rule your life. When you live with letting go, you find freedom, and in that freedom, true wealth blossoms. You might ask, how do I reach this inner wealth? It's through practicing mindfulness, cultivating gratitude, and deeply understanding the impermanence of all things. When you appreciate what you have and live with a peaceful heart, you become the richest person in your own life. There's a story in Buddhist scriptures about a king who was incredibly wealthy, but lived in loneliness and fear. One day, he met a humble monk who owned nothing but inner peace. The king learned that true wealth isn't material treasures, it's richness of the heart, peace and happiness within. From then on, he sought that wealth inside himself, not outside. Material wealth can come and go, but inner wealth is eternal. When you stop chasing approval, when you no longer fear loss or lack, you become truly free. And that freedom is the greatest treasure you can have. You can see this clearly in people who have faced many hardships, yet maintain peace within. They don't boast or prove anything. They simply live in calm and ease. That's the true wealth Buddhism points us toward. So when you look at your life, ask yourself, how am I wealthy? Am I letting external things control my heart? Or have I found my resting place within? And as you step into a new day, remember that true wealth isn't what you have. It's the peace you hold in your heart. Let your life be proof of inner wealth. A wealth that can't be taken away, can't be harmed, and is a steady source of income amid life's constant changes. Because when you are truly rich, you don't need to prove anything to anyone. You simply live in full freedom and peace. And that is the deepest message Buddhism offers us about possessions and wealth, a message not just to ponder, but to live by and pass on. 9. Early steps in personal transformation. Every journey of personal transformation, big or small, begins with those first tentative and fragile steps. When you decide to change, whether it's starting a daily meditation practice or breaking a deeply ingrained habit, you are planting a new seed, an inner sprout that needs to be nurtured and warmed in silence and patience. What you might not realize is that these early stages, often quiet and simple on the surface, are actually the most crucial phase, where the foundation for lasting change is laid. You might feel nervous, anxious, or even wonder, does anyone truly understand these small efforts? Is there someone who will walk alongside me on this challenging path? But hold back from sharing too much too soon. Don't let judgmental eyes or a lack of empathy shake these delicate sprouts. Buddhism reminds us that inner transformation deserves to be honored in silence, in a private space, spacious enough for perseverance and determination to naturally grow. Imagine planting a young sapling in fertile soil. If you keep digging it up to check fertilize or expose it to every passing gaze, it will get damaged or even die before it has a chance to grow. Similarly, the changes in your heart need to be carefully tended in quietude, free from external pressures and expectations. There's a story in Buddhist scriptures about a young disciple who began his practice with very small steps, sitting in meditation for just a few minutes each day, paying attention to his breath, or simply letting go of one harmful habit. Those small steps went unnoticed by others, and even he wasn't yet confident enough to share them. But that patient silence helped him build a solid foundation, and one day, his transformation became powerful and resilient enough to overcome great challenges in life. Today's society often celebrates spectacular achievements and dramatic transformations, loudly broadcast on social media or in communities. But Buddhism invites you to look deeper, to honor the quiet, persistent steps that go unnoticed. Because not every transformation requires announcements or external validation. In fact, sharing too early or too much can distract, create doubt, and even cause you to falter. Remember, on the spiritual path, patience and silence are your greatest companions. When you give yourself the space to grow quietly, you not only preserve peace in your heart, but also allow those good seeds to be nurtured sustainably and naturally. The Buddha taught, the path to liberation is the path of mindfulness and patience. Patience is not about blindly enduring hardship. It's a deep understanding that real change takes time and delicate care. Mindfulness means recognizing every moment, every small step you take, even if it seems slow, it is precious progress. You may ask, how can I keep patience when the world around pushes for speed and instant success? That is the greatest challenge, and also your chance to practice compassion for yourself. See yourself like a toddler learning to walk. You might fall, move slowly, but you always need love and encouragement. Remember, transformation isn't just about giving up or changing a habit. It's a profound journey of self-awareness and understanding. When you sit in meditation each morning, it's not just sitting still. It's opening your heart to yourself gently observing emotions and thoughts without judgment or rushing to change them. There will be days when you feel lost, defeated, or ready to give up. But in those moments, remember, transformation is not a race, but a journey of acceptance and progress. Each time you return to mindfulness, to even the smallest practice, you are planting seeds for deeper growth. When you feel strong and confident enough, you can share your journey with true companions, those who understand and respect your fragility and inner strength. Until then, let silence and privacy be the sacred space where you nurture yourself. You may feel lonely in that silence, but remember many great figures in Buddhist history also passed through quiet phases. They weren't known for their small beginnings, but for their perseverance, faith, and determination in every moment. The path of transformation is never easy, but it is always meaningful and valuable. Every step, every breath, every mindful moment brings you closer to inner freedom and lasting peace. And now, whether you are just starting or already on this journey, know you are not alone. Buddhism Seeds is here to walk alongside you, sharing profound teachings, inspiring stories, and precious lessons from Buddhism. If you find these insights helpful, please subscribe, like, and share, so others may join us on the path to peace. Don't forget to leave your thoughts below. Share your experiences, challenges, or joys in your personal transformation journey. Together, we learn, grow, and spread seeds of kindness in this world. Let your soul be nurtured in silence and compassion. And remember, every day you choose to walk this path, you make the world a better place, not just for yourself, but for everyone around you.